The thoughts, opinions, and general overall shades thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your hosts, Jason Beck and Rico Lamitte, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. Oh, yeah. Good morning, everybody. That's right. Oh, yes. Look at this. I have these two with me live in the studio, and so, I had to break out the circus tents. So, Good morning. It's Wednesday, October 11th, and today is National Curves Day. I guess because it was National Fat People Day yesterday. It's also International Day of the Girl Child. National Take Your Parents to Lunch Day. National Fossil Day for all those fossils out there. National Coming Out Day for everyone that wants to come out. And you can't have National Come Out Day without National Sausage Pizza Day, everybody. Yes,
right.
Yes.
Yeah, sausage and pie.
Well, thank you for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. It's also high noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. Use that fancy little QR code right there in the top-hand corner of your screen to see where you live on the internet. And we are live every Monday through Friday on YouTube. And now you can also find us on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, and Rumble. Oh, yes.
Are you ready to rumble?
Oh, boy. So we have, is he with us? Is the dope dad with us? Are you there, Rico?
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you, yes.
Hey, Rico,
all right.
Listen, I'm going to keep it real. I don't think anybody could see you, bro. I'm just saying.
He's not saying that because you're behind a curtain. Because that's all that we see.
Me.
We cannot see you.
You're like Pac right now.
You sound amazing, though.
Yeah, you sound amazing. So we are going to go right on in to the dope dad himself. Oh, you want to go? You want me to go to someone else? All right, fine, whatever. I'm going to go to my story then. All right.
But you can see me. You got to see me.
Well, I mean, I can't see you, bro. All I see is a black screen, and that's it.
Man, we couldn't see you in broad daylight with a spotlight,
That's
brother.
Yeah, exactly.
That's racist.
I bet it is. I bet it is. Well, can I tell you? I'm gonna if you're triggered over that, my story is definitely going to trigger a lot of you today. So I'm just want to let you guys know that ahead of time.
I wore my trigger pants.
Perfect.
Is this a hair trigger?
This is a real trigger because the USDA says genetically modified hemp plant containing 0% THC can be grown in the United States of America.
What?
Yes. The U.S. Department of Agriculture, the USDA Animal and Plant Health Inspection Services, APHIS, has approved a genetically modified hemp plant engineered by Growing Together Research Incorporated that has reduced THC and cannabichromene, CBC levels. The agency said it reviewed the plant to determine whether it posed an increased plant risk compared to other varietals. In its letter to the USDA, Growing Together notes that the plant contains 0% THC, which would reduce farmers' risk of growing so-called hot crops, which creates an economic and regulatory risk to farmers who want to grow hemp. Growing Together noted in a press release last year announcing the cultivar that from 2018 to 2020, more than 10% of planted hemp acreages was so-called hot. Yes. USDA through APHIS regulates the movement of organizations modified or produced through genetic engineering under the Plant Protection Act of 2000. In a letter to Growing Together, APHIS Deputy Administrator Bernadette Juarez said the agency found this modified hemp is unlikely to pose an increased plant pest risk compared to other cultivated hemp. And as a result, she wrote, it is subject to regulation under the Plant Protection Act. And from a plant pest risk perspective, this hemp may be safely grown and bred in the United States. Well, cannabis just went GMO, you guys. I can't wait to hear what you guys all have to say about this. And this is Jason Beck for the High at 9 News Hour. What do y'all have to say? And we got Rico. He's got a purple shirt with a purple background today. Look at that.
Better hurry up and go get rid of all that THC before it kills somebody.
Right?
I like the GMO.
You like the GMO?
I like the GMO.
You like the
I like
GMO.
how it's GMO. You know what I'm saying? Like, not only do we have some legit cannabis that's GMO, we actually have hemp that's GMO now. So, like, can we get Burner or somebody to do like a GMO hemp cross?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I'm just saying. Then we would have like a true
Dad
GMO
joke.
genetic.
I mean,
Dad, we jokes.
I wonder who owns this. I wonder who owns this company. I wonder if it's Monsanto or Cargill.
Pfizer.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I hate the idea of modifying anything that has to do with any form of cannabis. Cannabis is perfect the way it is. Leave it alone.
Yes.
Yep.
100% agree. Listen, why are we even messing with this at all? This is like one of those Dan Brown books right here, where you mess with the hemp and then it comes back and it eats all your children.
It might happen. It might be. It might happen. I mean, you know what I mean? It might all of a sudden turn AI hemp, and you know what I mean? All of a sudden just start killing everybody.
Take over the world.
Yeah.
Angry hemp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's already going to taste like boof, so you're not going to want to smoke it. So what are you going to do with it?
Yeah, what are they gonna do with it?
Exactly.
What are they going to do with it?
If you cross GMO with GMO, do you get organic?
Oh boy.
Two negatives make a positive.
Two negatives do equal a positive. That is true
Yes.
for anyone that
But,
took basic math. But I will say
joke.
this in regards to this. I wonder, because ultimately most of these hemp farmers are cultivating for CBD, so they can turn that into isolate and then repurpose it into Delta 8 and all these other HHC and all these funny little compounds and whatnot. And so I just wonder if this new strain varietal is going to produce as much CBD as so-called hot hemp.
Is there any positive to it at all?
I think there's tons of positives to this, Rico. Are you serious?
I
mean,
maybe paint us the picture that you see, Jay.
let me play devil's advocate. Maybe they're growing a hemp that can grow in regions that are susceptible to drought. I don't know. Like maybe it really does have a legitimately cool scientific reason. I still don't like it.
I don't believe that it has a legitimate scientifically cool reason, because they specifically noted in there that this was strictly to help farmers to make sure that they were not growing hot hemp. And so it was
it's
strictly
like DEA hemp.
Strictly for that purpose.
Right.
Oh, welcome,
Weird.
Gretchen.
It's
Sorry.
Gretchen.
Good morning.
Good.
Yes.
Young
I
Red.
was out in my garden.
You were out
I was
in the
doing stuff
garden.
in my garden.
You're out in
Yeah.
the outdoors, huh?
I was pruning my rose bushes, and
They have gardens out
Got
there
that.
in DC. I didn't know
I
that.
have an amazing garden, Luke Scarmazzo. I'll be happy to take you on a tour of it later if
I
you'd like
would
to
love
FaceTime
that.
my garden.
I would love that.
It'll take about 30 seconds, but it's an amazing one.
I know a few other guys that would love to see what's in your garden, Gretchen.
Oh, shut the
Gretchen's garden.
Yes. Oh,
Suck
man.
it.
Uh-huh.
Do you have any GMO hemp in that garden, Gretchen?
No, not yet.
Not
Not
yet.
yet.
I wonder if they would put some of this GMO hemp into the botanical garden out there in DC, Gretchen.
Are we
That's
complaining
probably
about
the only
GMO
thing you
stuff?
should really do.
Well, yeah. So the USDA has approved a hemp varietal strain of GMO hemp that produces 0 THC, they say.
Okay, to pretend that any plant nowadays is not really GMO is kind of silly. They're all genetically modified in some way or another. Don't give me that look, Stone Slade.
What
You
about
and
your
windowsill
roses?
booth.
Are your roses
Yeah, I'm
genetically
sure they
modified?
are.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Are you kidding?
They're
Yeah.
GMO to be redder than red?
Probably the most genetically modified flower in our society, a rose.
I used
I
to
don't
work
know.
on GMO labeling standards years ago, and that's when it was like a scary thing. Now it's just like, oh, everything we eat is GMO. Suck it up.
I have a
accept
question.
it,
I have a
deal with
question. Is it scary?
Yeah.
Is it scarier because it was a new thing, and now because there's so much of it, you're kind of like desensitized to it? It's not just as scary as it
I
was
would say,
before.
I mean, that was like 15 years ago when I was doing that, working on it in the beginning, and that was so. Yeah, I mean, everyone hates Monsanto, which with good reason.
Mm-hmm.
But there's plenty to pretend that plants and especially major crops have not been genetically modified in some way or another is naive.
Naivete.
I don't know. Listen, I'm going to tell you a little quick story, Gretchen. I climbed one
can't
of the
wait.
highest hills in Eastside Modesto, and I found this purple plant right there.
Uh-huh.
And it's the only strand that was around, never been touched by man until we brought it to market. You will be able to find it soon. I'm not going to tell you where, but it is not modified by any human being. This is God's gift to
Is this some marketing
nature.
bullshit?
It sounds like some marketing bullshit to me. Totally, yeah.
I'm just going to leave it there. We're not going to tell anybody. Little teaser. Jay will have the scoop when it happens.
The scoop will be
Rare
here,
strand
live.
in the hills of Eastside Modesto.
Yes, live at High at 9 News. But on that, we're going to go to a commercial, and we're going to be right back.
I didn't even know Modesto had hills.
They don't.
Technically.
Relying on 25 years of commercial hydroponic experience, King Solomon Nutrients has engineered the best liquid and dry fertilizer products for cannabis that preserves the crop, the soil, and the environment. Through relentless passion, research, and innovation, King Solomon has developed simplified cannabis crop nutrition you can trust. It was created for farmers, by farmers. Don't mess around. Try the crown.
Are you back with us, Rico?
I'm back like I left.
There he
something.
is.
Oh, man, he's back.
we missed ya.
Oh, yes. Look at all that purple going on over there. And it's Rico. He's back from getting his tubes tied. We're so glad you could join us. We're so glad you're feeling better.
It's a long journey.
Yes, it is. It is the dope dad himself.
I'm feeling the colors, though, Reek.
Yes,
I like it.
I'm with us.
I like the purple hues.
It's purple, baby. Everything is purple.
I feel like
I
I feel like you need a Viola hat on for all that purple you have going on over there.
Oh man, it's at Northwestern University. It's also, it's a blending of the red and the blue because I don't fuck with none of y'all.
I like that.
I bet.
I like that. I like that.
I bet.
United.
Yeah, so in Texas, the great purple
Oh,
state
God.
of Texas.
It's red state.
So, no, man, it's good to be back, man. My story today is coming out of the great state of New York. We got some reefer madness coming from yet another lawmaker. So, New York Assemblyman Phil Steck, a Democrat out of Schenectady, is taking a book out of the tried and true Save the Children playbook usually designated for his colleagues across the aisle. According to the Post-Journal yesterday, the state lawmaker introduced Bill A.8025 to prohibit the use of cannabis within 30 feet of a child or 30 feet of any location in which children reside or attend for any recreational or educational purposes.
Damn.
The bill also included additional penalties for those who are ticketed more than once. Steck wants he wants to fine those found guilty of violating the law $25 or not more than 20 hours of community service. Not so bad there. With the severity increasing to a Class B misdemeanor for a second offense. Here's what he said. Many constituents have expressed concern over irresponsible behavior with marijuana that adversely affects the rights of others to raise their children as they feel appropriate. People do not have a God-given right to engage in behavior they do not want at any time, any place, under any circumstances. People have the right to enjoy marijuana as long as it does not adversely affect the rights of others. Furthermore, the CDC has described significant adverse health effects from modern marijuana. That does not mean making it illegal. It just means taking a sensible approach to it. He cited a 2018 study by Mount Sinai researchers of secondhand smoke in Colorado children that found nearly half the children whose parents smoked marijuana showed evidence of secondhand marijuana smoke exposure. Among the parents studied, smoking was the most common form of marijuana use, followed by edibles and vaporizers. So I won't even go any deeper on this one, man. So he wants to fine you if you are within 30 feet of any child, any doing any educational activities or any recreational activities at all. So this actually includes field trips. It could include anybody with a bunch of kids walking in a line on the sidewalk, anywhere near any of these kids, and you have no control over that. He wants you to be fined. I think this is unbelievable overreach by anybody, and I would not expect it to come from a Democrat, but here we are. But I'd like to hear from you guys. What do you think? Is Beck on something here? Yeah.
I can't wait to talk, so I'm gonna go first. This is crazy. I would be broke by this law. I would be broke. I would have no money. Think about just something so crazy to me right now. People who smoke cigarettes can stand, as long as they're 20 feet away from an exit or an entrance, they can stand wherever they want for the most part. And
I mean, anywhere outside.
Yeah, anywhere outside. Think about this. Lakes, rivers. No one's coming up to me at the lake and telling me to put my cigarette out.
How are they going to enforce this realistically? How are they going to enforce this? This is totally unenforceable. This is all bureaucratic BS.
And it's based on BS. Like,
I see some crazy ass, just like sending out a bunch of kids.
Serious stupidity.
Sending out a bunch of kids into a crowd or into a festival somewhere, and all of a sudden you have jurisdiction to ticket these people anywhere, wherever you want. I think this is absolutely.
My thing is this too, like they said they base it on, the damage of secondhand smoke, right? And then they said they did a study on parents who use cannabis and found that their children had evidence of secondhand smoke exposure or damage or something like that. I forget the exact terminology used, but how would that even be measured? How do you measure whether or not a kid has some exposure to secondhand smoke unless you were like, you doing a urinary analysis or a blood test or something, and I don't see them like did a study like that happen and us not know about it? Like,
I mean,
that's just
possible, but
There's no way that happened because we would have known about it here at High.
like that just sounds ridiculous to me. And then 30 feet, like what if I'm smoking and the kid runs up playing handball by me and he breaches the 30 feet? Like, what happens then? Am I liable for that? What if he's chasing me around while I'm smoking? And am I in violation the whole time I'm running?
Yeah. Incredible.
Mm-hmm.
This is
overreach is an understatement.
Yeah.
This is bullshit. I can sit there smoking my cigarette with my kid and tell him to go get my opioids and a beer out of the fridge.
Yes, that's exactly my point.
Good point.
Ridiculous.
Yep.
When I was a kid, I used to go to cigar camp.
Cigar camp?
Oh, I have to hear about
Tell me
this.
about cigar
I
camp.
have to hear this.
Cigar camp is a true thing. You can Google it. This was at the Bloom Cigar Company in Pittsburgh. And basically, it was a bunch of single dads who all got together at the cigar shop on Saturdays with lots of lox and bagels and football. And all of a sudden, there was 20 kids running around the cigar shop, too. So like, oh, shit, we got to do something with the kids. So we learned a lot about cigars, inhaled a lot of secondhand smoke. Learned how to play 52 pickup, a little poker here and there.
That's
it was
awesome.
quite the learning experience. I attended cigar camp for probably 10 years, many years at cigar camp. Very nice gentleman.
I want to start a cigar camp.
But
That
I
sounds
reeked
great.
Every Saturday, I reeked.
I don't
I
know
smelled
whether
awful.
I'm
My mother hated
intrigued.
it.
I don't know whether I'm intrigued or really, really appalled.
I think all
I'm
kids
like in
should
the
have this
middle of it.
experience. I think all kids should have this
And just
experience.
think
in
about
life.
it.
Oh, you got, you hang out with surgeons and bikers and football players and all
Surgeons
sorts
and
of random
bikers
businessmen.
and
They
football
always bought
players.
my Girl Scout cookies.
But
See?
It was
but
quite
Gretchen,
the
you
crowd.
learned poker and about
Yeah.
tobacco.
Those are real life skills, Luke. You know plenty
Those are
about
life skills in
poker.
Washington. I don't know what you're talking about. I can go sit in a cigar bar with any old politician here and look legit.
Put them
I
down.
Exactly.
I'll smoke cigars with the best of them.
I smoke
love it.
cigars much better than
So,
I do
Question,
cannabis.
Gretchen.
Oh, don't
when
say
you
it.
smoke cigars, do you
Yeah.
smoke the big fat ones or do you smoke the
Yeah.
little thin ones?
cigarillos.
Yeah.
I usually I prefer Punch, which is a larger brand. Yes, it's a Honduran cigar.
So size does matter.
Have you ever smoked the?
I like large ones too, Gretchen.
Have you ever smoked the Americana?
Yeah, you do.
No.
You never smoked the Americana, really?
I don't know that one. No.
Well, first of all, just so you know, it is the only cigar that is 100% produced in the United States. It's called the Americana. You should check it out next time.
Oh, probably that's why I never smoked it.
Yeah,
if
probably
it's produced here, what are you out of your mind?
It's really good. My friends make it in Florida,
and it's like
it's really
it's
good.
some indoor booth cigar you want me to
it is
smoke?
not
I don't
indoor.
think so, Chief.
It is not. It's not indoor, but it is rolled indoors.
Have you ever smoked this? Have you ever?
And it's hand rolled. What?
I'm sure your hands are all over it, Jason Beck.
Oh, you already know it, girl.
I can just see it.
Have you ever smoked the Black and Mild? Or Black and Mild's really cigars?
Ooh, that's a good point.
I thought they were more incense.
I feel like that's like saying, is a 2x4 wood or is particle board wood? Like, you know what I mean? Like it kind of is. I guess a backwood would be, or I'm not a backwood. A Black and Mild would be a cigar, kind of.
I heard that slip up there, Luke.
Yeah, I know.
Just so you know.
Freudian slip.
All right, enough of that.
I'm really intrigued by this cigar camp.
Yeah, listen, we could
Google
talk
it.
about
It's
this
a
all
thing.
day.
Did your car?
We had T-shirts and everything.
Hold on. Did you guys have like a chapter number?
No, what do you mean? There was only one.
Oh, the
original.
It sounds like really bad.
There's only one.
Sorry.
You just told me that
Sounds
we
like
can
bad
Google
parenting.
it, so there should be
You didn't-
chapters of these
Rico,
across the
this isn't
country.
Oh, in this, I hear
parenting.
sense of community
This is
fostered,
industrial
time,
parenting.
daughter, father, bonding.
Yeah, this is
moment.
like
things I learned.
What are
this is like daddy
So
daughter
many dirty
daycare?
jokes.
Yeah.
Hold on though. What are the
Yeah.
statistics? What are the statistics of the children who attended this camp that are now tobacco smokers?
Well, I know one, and she's not a
I
tobacco
don't
smoker, so I guess it has zero effect.
And neither my brothers are.
I feel like
now.
your
So,
focus
yeah,
group
I
might
don't-
be
I
a
don't
little
know.
smaller.
We just included her two brothers, and now the focus group is 3, and it's 0 out of 3.
The whole Gretchen family.
That's an incredible.
Mhm.
And with Mayflower roots.
I feel like the Gaileys might just have different, more fortitude, maybe, perhaps.
Yep. That's it.
We always have more fortitude. All right. next
Speaking
story.
of
Come on, keep it
fortitude,
moving,
we
people.
are rolling right into our spicy redheaded conservative, Miss Gretchen Gailey, who loves to parade her dogs in atrocious outfits up and down Capitol Hill and just totally embarrass the shit out of her dogs, even though she thinks that they love it. But who knows? You know what? Nonetheless, it is none other than the founder of Panoptic Strategies, Miss Gretchen Gailey.
Jason, I know you've never seen a satisfied woman, and that's why you're not understanding when Salem gets so excited.
All I ever
over-
see is satisfied women, Gretchen. That's all I've ever known in my life.
Get him, Gretchen.
Oh, yeah. She loves it.
Gretchen's back,
Yeah,
baby.
she does not love it. Stop it.
Whatever.
I'm
All right,
calling
my
PETA.
headline: Lone Democrat. Go for it. Knock yourself out. I'm an excellent dog mom. Lone Democrat who opposed marijuana banking bill in Senate committee explains his vote. U.S. Senator Raphael Warnock was the sole Democrat to vote against a marijuana banking reform bill during a committee markup last month. In a new interview, the senator described his vote as an effort at making important equity improvements while there's still a chance to do so. He said, "I'm worried that if we pass a bill with all of these fees and the revenue that comes and not begin to address the issue of restorative justice, we're not going to go back and get those communities." Warnock said during an appearance on Crooked Media's Love It or Leave It podcast that was posted on Sunday. Black and brown people, especially, he said, have been hollowed out by half a century of the so-called war on drugs for using marijuana. Warnock was discussing the Safer Banking Act, which would protect banks and service state legal marijuana markets from being punished by federal regulators. What it does is it allows businesses and banks to participate with cannabis businesses in states where it's legal. And so it creates a safe space for them. But the communities that have been most devastated by the so-called war on drugs, it does nothing for them at all. My question was, who are we really making safer? The Senate Banking Committee, of which Warnock is a member, made a number of amendments last month before advancing the Safer Banking Act to the Senate floor. But the panel rejected Warnock's proposed changes that were meant to bolster the bill's equity provisions. One amendment would have put an expiration date on the Banking Act, unless the Treasury Department submitted a report to Congress certifying that the measure decreased the racial wealth gap and lessened other negative economic impacts of the drug war. Another would have required the government to study the racial wealth gap and the percentage of minority-owned cannabis-related businesses before and after the passage of the Safer Banking Act, according to a summary. At the time, Warnock delivered a speech expressing concerns about the bill as drafted, arguing that it will make life safer for bankers, for businesses, and financial institutions, some of whom have been profiting from the cannabis industry illegally for years. I'm not opposed to easing or undoing federal restrictions around cannabis, and I would support all of the provisions and reforms in this legislation if paired with broader cannabis reforms that substantively address the issue of restorative justice. This bill does not do that. The lawmaker reiterated his points during the new Love It or Leave It interview with former John Lovett, a former speechwriter for President Barack Obama. There's some good reasons to move this forward, he said, and yet I'm trying to help us summon the will to pair justice with common sense so that everyone can be safe. As the war on drug wanes, Warnock said he feels the United States needs something like the Marshall Plan, which invested in war-torn countries to help them rebuild after World War II. I happen to know some Black and brown communities in Atlanta and in St. Louis and in Chicago and in South Central who could use a Marshall Plan, who could use some recognition that something happened to them. The U.S. is the mass incarceration capital of the world, the senator noted. We're about 6% of the world's population. We warehouse about 50% of the world's prisoners. From his position in the banking committee, Warnock said he feels he's watching leaders perpetuate the racial wealth gap as they grapple with marijuana reform. I think this is what happens in real time as I witnessed it. I got really good colleagues on that banking committee. They're good people. But if banking reform alone becomes law, years from now, we'll be asking ourselves, as we do about a whole range of things, why are these problems so intractable? Well, Senator Warnock, I don't have a problem with what you are trying to do. I have a problem with where you're trying to do it. The Safe Banking Act is not the place to fix every racial injustice imposed by the war on drugs. This is a banking bill. And for a man to suggest that this does nothing for minority businesses, does not make them safer in any way, I think is a ridiculous statement. This is Gretchen for High 9 News.
I totally agree with you on this, Gretchen. It is totally ridiculous, and I feel like he had some type of backdoor deal with Cory Booker in regards for taking this position. He was like, "Hey, I can't grandstand on this issue right now, but you can for me, and since you're brand new, you're the perfect person to do this for me."
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is a Booker-esque stance. Yes. But this issue is really personal to me, of course, right? I have a lot of friends, people that I call brothers, sisters that are in prison right now for nonviolent cannabis offense. So when I see these bills being talked about and safe versus safer, initially I'm going to keep it real. I was against safe without criminal justice provisions. And I'm not looking to correct every racial injustice that's been ongoing for the last centuries. What I do want is the people out of prison. It's real simple. We can figure out all the rest of the stuff after we give our people their freedom back. Then we can do the rest of that. Like, I get it. We don't want to mix it up into a financial bill and the safe banking. I get it. I have evolved on that issue because I've spoken to dispensary owners throughout the country, in Oregon, in California, single women that cannot afford to have huge security systems and things to be able to protect their businesses. I empathize with that, and I understand that we need the banking system for people like that. I don't really care about the corporate people making money. I understand that helps push the issue along in another way, though, as well. But please this is an issue, really, that both sides of the aisle agree on. Like, letting people out for a nonviolent cannabis offense is across the board. You got conservatives like Senator Mike Lee who are on board with that. You have Democrats like Booker and Warnock and everybody else who grandstands on these issues. Like, this is not something that is like a crazy insert that would kill a bill. This is something that we could say, hey, look, we're going to pass this safe banking. We're going to include a provision in it that releases everybody from federal prison who has a nonviolent cannabis offense, which can be looked at in a second. And that's it. And then we'll worry about all the other stuff. We can do some social justice bills and work on those other issues and make those things more equitable that have been going on for decades and centuries. We can do that on a separate issue. I agree with Gretchen on that and Jason 100%. However, why is this such a hard thing to insert into a bill like this? It's not crazy. It's not craziness. So with Warnock kind of grandstanding on this, I get it. Like, I see what he's doing. Like you said, it is very Booker-esque. Let's get it passed. I mean, let's pass safe banking. It's good for everybody. Please pass safe banking. All my people that are in prison, I promise I will keep going hard for you guys. If it's not included in safe banking, I will go on the next bill and the next appropriations bill. And I don't care if it's a jaywalking legislation. I will ask you to include it in jaywalking legislation. Like, this is an issue that is that important to me and that important to the communities that have been impacted by prohibition, who have a family member that is in a cage right now.
Yeah.
Luke, I understand this is an important issue to you. However, for folks to keep pretending that this is a federal issue is incorrect. You need to be out there lobbying the states. People who have state offenses, which are the bulk of them, have to be... I'm just telling you how the law works. It has to be handled by the state. Congress does not have the power to let these people out of jail if they are in jail for a state offense. Now, if you want to push that for for the federal folks who are sitting in there, great, go for it. Nothing that Warnock proposed for his amendments to safe banking would have done anything for prisoners.
No.
It would have put an expiration date on safe banking, and he wanted to do a study on the racial wealth gap. And I think to suggest that just the war on drugs is the only reason there's a racial wealth gap in this country is ludicrous.
Absolutely.
There are so many other problems that have led to the racial wealth gap in this country. And to pretend that cannabis is going to be the industry that is going to give everyone the leg up they need and the chance to get ahead is
reasonable.
It's false.
I agree with the second half of that, but let me clarify it, because maybe I wasn't crystal
Rico,
clear on
are you
it.
on mute?
Yeah, Rico, you on mute?
Oh, my bad. Did I cut you off, Rick?
I don't know. I saw him wanted to talk, but I didn't hear him.
Yeah, I was
gonna
say, man. I was gonna say. Let me just say one thing, man. I agree with you wholeheartedly, Luke, and just period. And I've said it from the beginning. We passed safe banking. They're not gonna come back. That ship has already sailed. Period. You know, everybody, we've already gotten past the fact where communities and OGs and legacy operators are the ones carrying the torch on social equity. MSOs are carrying that torch now. MSOs are the ones making an impact. They're the ones running the conversation. They're controlling the narrative on this shit. So, and just look at America's track record. Look at Congress's track record. They never come back and help the communities that matter. They never come back and do stuff like this with any meaningful gumption behind them, right? It's always like, oh yeah, you ask for $1, they give you 7 cents, and they tell you that, you know what, we gave you something. Come back. That's how government works. And you know what? As much as I am against a lot of the sentiments that Matt Gaetz and his team have, and them like stalling government and all that shit, he stood for something, and you know what? He got Kevin McCarthy out of office.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting for some Democrats to have the balls to do something like that and actually stand up and stop compromising so much. No, man, like compromising waters down everything, and the people are the ones that suffer. When are we actually going to have some real reform on something? And this industry would not be an industry if it wasn't for the cats that were behind jail.
Yes.
Behind bars in jail.
Church.
Period.
And just
so
for
I will always say that needs to be addressed first. So big ups to Raphael Warnock, even if he isn't proposing something, whatever. Like, somebody needs to be dying on that hill. Cory Booker did an about face on it, and I was very disappointed in him because I thought he was the only one that had balls on this issue. Yeah. And big ups to Raphael Warnock on that, and I hope he has more people that join him in his stand.
So you don't.
Do you know why Cory Booker did an about face on this, Rico?
Yep, because he made a deal.
He did an about face because he realized that this would help minority businesses, and minority businesses went to him and said, "We need this."
Sounds like
it helps all businesses. I mean, we all.
Was that 2 years ago?
Sounds like a backroom deal to me.
Hold on, was that 2 years ago when that happened with Cory Booker? We're in a very different place now.
Yeah, I agree. Very different.
Very different place.
And just
now,
for clarity,
now is the time to grandstand on something you absolutely care about, because we're at that point where it's like the industry's gone to all the independent retailers. It's damn near gone. So you have to be big to have a voice. You have to be big to even stay afloat in this industry. So I agree with them wholeheartedly. Now is the time to grandstand on a big issue, and so big ups to Warnock for doing this. Like I don't agree with all the things that he's in it for, but stand for something.
Yeah,
fall for anything.
Mm-hmm.
And just for clarification, Gretchen, I was strictly speaking on federal cannabis prisoners. Obviously, the states have their own issues, but in the sense that the feds, when they do lead on these issues, most of the time the states follow behind fairly quickly. But I was specifically talking about federal cannabis inmates, where we have 2,700 plus that are still in federal prison for a nonviolent cannabis offense. They have the power to get them out. That's who I'm speaking about.
We're gonna keep on having these lukewarm milquetoast bills that go through that don't really help anybody, man. Like, government's trash.
Yeah,
trash. We don't even have a House Speaker. Who's gonna be
Are
that?
we still talking about
Stop
this shit?
it!
Come on,
Stop.
move on.
We are gonna have a House Speaker by the end of this week, so I'm not worried about that.
Well, we're striving for a
God,
more
we'll see
perfect
about
union.
that.
We will have a House Speaker by the end of this week.
I love the country. I
yes
disagree with the people who are in charge.
Yep.
I hate legislative terrorists.
Legislative terrorists. That's a strong statement there, Gretchen.
That's exactly what Matt Gaetz is.
Hot
You're
DC terms.
throwing out a bunch of trigger words over there on people. Pow pow pow.
DC slang.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying.
Well, on that though, before Gretchen's house gets shot up with all these legislative
my
terrorists,
dogs are going nuts.
we're gonna go to a commercial and we're gonna be right back.
The Control Tower from Highly Educated has perfected the dab. Utilizing the concept of thin film evaporation, you can waste none of it and taste all of it. The micro texture of the SE pillar increases nucleation at elevated temperatures. And with the tower propelling at 2,600 RPMs, it's certainly the most efficient dab experience to date. The Control Tower from Highly Educated.
Do that. When can we get that in?
Stop whatever you're doing. Make sure you hit that like button. I know we would appreciate it, and YouTube appreciates it also. And you will even appreciate yourself even more after you do it, as well as after you hit that subscribe button if you have not already. And make sure you check out our website, www.highat9news.com, where you can read all of the stories that we cover today. Tell a friend, because organic growth is the best growth. I'm Jason Beck, and this is Smoky Vanilla. And if you want to feel as good as I look, then you need to get yourself a stretch and smoke with Smoky Vanilla.
That's right, baby. I'm Smoky Vanilla with my background in kinesiology. I'm a sports massage therapist and stretch coach. I focus mostly on athletes who have chronic pain or injury due to their sport, or the legends of the chronic in the game, baby.
Oh, yeah, you know what it is. We just stretched, and now we're going to smoke, because you know what it is.
That's right. I love intuitively creating a session based on the individual I'm working with. We'll go through a few assessments, look at the past health history, injury, or anything that's still affecting you today, and create a customized session just for you. Let's go. Woo!
Interesting.
I love Smokey and the Bandit as a kid.
Oh yeah, smoke it.
Cats. We just keep it moving, man. Like, so with cats every day moving further lower, it's sad. But this man, he's above all that BS. He hit the high road. He's one of the dopest dads coming out of the great purple state of Texas, here to break us off with a little hump day love. Y'all know who it is. It's my man himself, Stone Slade.
Thank you, Rico. Thank you. I think I'm done. Thank you, Rico. Good morning, High at 9 News listeners and viewers. Today, I'm going to bring you a leaf history's book as we roll into one of the favorite times of year for cannabis scaremongers. So let's light up this little truth joint. Recently, a groundbreaking paper was released in the European Journal for Chemistry, tracing the intertwined history of cannabis and humanity through millennia, proving that the plant's incredible legacy in fiber, nutrition, medicine, spirituality, and of course, pleasure. Authors Gabriel Vidor de Lima Marquez and Renata Barbosa de Oliveira from the Federal University of Minas Gerais, I know I butchered that one, in Brazil, has given us eye-opening account of cannabis's use dating back approximately 10,000 years. It seems our ancestors in the ancient Mesopotamia, China, and Kazakhstan knew the value of hemp fibers long before prohibitionists figured out scare tactics. They used this wonder plant for ropes, sails, clothing, and even facilitating the capture of fish, showing that cannabis is indeed the OG multi-purpose resource. The authors note, cannabis is possibly the first plant to be cultivated for non-food purposes. They also highlighted its consumption for psychological effects, tracing back around 3,000 years. As described in the Vedas, cannabis has seen as a heavenly drop, bringing joy and freedom to its users, acting as a therapeutic and spiritual tool in ceremonies ranging from weddings to significant religious festivals. This meticulous research challenges the misguided views of cannabis prohibitionists who get every chance they get, weave tales scarier than Delta-8 nerd ropes. People like Kevin Sabet of Smart Approaches to Marijuana, or SAM, who wrote in a 2011 op-ed, the key difference between alcohol and drug prohibition lies in the substance itself. Alcohol, unlike illegal drugs, has a long history of widespread accepted use in society, dating back to before biblical times. Illegal drugs cannot claim such a persuasive use by a large part of the planet's population over such a period of time. Well, the new paper counters, explaining that Semitic people knew about the psychoactive properties of cannabis centuries before the Christian era, employing it in various forms of ailments and sickness of the spirit. The study dives deep into the chasm between historical facts and the modern war on drugs. It illuminates how ancient communities revered cannabis, utilizing it for a plethora of applications, including pain relief, anti-inflammation, appetite stimulation, and treatments for various diseases. Well, it's fun to poke at the sometimes irrational fears prohibitionists propagate, especially with their favorite "what about the kids" holiday Halloween approaching. It's crucial to acknowledge the paper doesn't advocate for political position on legalization. However, it does shed light on the global movements towards legalization and decriminalization in various jurisdictions. In recent years, there's been a seismic shift with countries like Canada, Uruguay, and states within the U.S. legalizing cannabis, while others have authorized its medical use. And as we continue to explore and understand the cannabis plant's potential, its role in contemporary medicine becomes even more significant. With recent studies highlighting the synergy of cannabinoids and the promising future of genetically engineered hemp. So as Halloween approaches and the air gets thick with tales of cannabis sneaking into your kids' treats, let's remember the long-standing, respectful relationship humans have had with this plant for thousands of years. It's not the cannabis plants that's spooky, it's the misinformation. Let's continue to explore, understand, and respect this ancient plant that's been a part of human culture for, well, being a millennia. This is Stone signing off for the High at 9 News. Stay informed and stay high.
Yeah, the history of this plant, if you don't know about it, is so interesting. I mean, the Chinese have been using it therapeutically and medicinally for thousands of years. There's many cultures that have it in their ceremonies and in their rituals. So this is not something that like we just discovered. I know the U.S. wants to come in the 1700s and think the world started then, and we get to point at trees and plants and birds and say outlaw, prohibition on God's creations. But other more civilized countries and civilizations looked and viewed this plant in the way that it should have been looked and viewed as, in a medicinally and a therapeutically valuable botanical. I mean, I love it, and I think it's really awesome that we can go back and look at some of these. It's not coming for your kids. It can actually help your kids, especially if your kids have ailments that a lot of the pharmaceutical companies will just keep pumping stuff that doesn't fix it. It's a Band-Aid. So it's awesome. I'm with it. I love the history behind it, and I think people should learn about it and know that it's not the dangerous boogeyman that's coming around the corner to come steal your kids' innocence.
It's amazing to me how much prohibition has impacted, anybody's knowledge about it. I mean, I have conversations with my parents who are in their early 70s, and their minds are just absolutely blown because accessibility to any kind of information about this was nothing but you're going to die or it's going to hurt you or change your life somehow in this drastically bad way. And, I said it before, I'll say it again. We're always going to be educators for the rest of our entire lives. Our generation will be charged with teaching people about the history of this plant and the future potential of this plant as well.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee that Mexican alien that they found last month smoked weed.
Yeah, of course. Ole.
But was his weed out of this world, Rico?
No, it was just alien labs.
Oh. Oh, yeah. And shout out to Ted. I saw Ted last night from Alien Labs. There was a little event over at the Astor Club here in L.A. And shout out to my buddy Shaggy. And, oh, yes, Blazy Susan had a little event with Shaggy's Papers and the launch of Chris Brown's new weed.
Okay.
Yes.
Another celebrity brand for you guys.
I wonder if this one's going to make it.
Chris Brown's gonna be bussing on y'all.
I'm smoking this because Chris Brown does.
Yeah, 100%.
Can't wait to try
it. But yes, coming up next.
This dope ain't loyal.
Yes, coming up next. She's a mom. She's an edibles judge for the Emerald Cup, and that's right. She's also a cannabis executive who wants to show you how being an executive, a mother, and an edibles judge all can go hand in hand with an executive lifestyle because she showed up in an Uber Black today. That's right. It is Miss Manndie Tingler.
In a white Uber Black.
A white Uber Black. Wow.
Ooh,
that sounds
Uber
even more
white.
expensive. Then it would have been an Alto if it was white.
And when he said, like, she's an executive that juggles, like, all these different roles, he literally means it. Like, she is throwing roles with her feet, hands, everything, and doing it with exceptional precision.
Hey,
and
this
speed.
is a family-friendly show. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I was
Come on,
totally.
Luke.
My children
I
watch
bet.
this show.
I was talking about.
We all know
Dude,
you were
like-
talking about.
Okay,
Luke.
whatever.
We all know.
I can't win. I can't win.
I mean, it's right. That's how the world
Go ahead.
works.
Sorry
All
about
right,
that, Miss Tingler.
all right. Well,
Continue,
you guys
ma'am.
know that I am very interested in stories that parents are dealing, or ways that parents are affected by cannabis in the media. And we've got a really interesting police and parent engagement happening. The headline says, police say babysitter paid with marijuana, 2 arrested. 2 Scottsville residents have been jailed on suspicion of human trafficking after police investigated allegations that a juvenile they used to watch their children was paid in marijuana. Something tells me the babysitter wasn't expecting this.
It was probably not good weed, and he was mad about it.
Not to mention there were no taxes paid on this revenue.
Well, it's Arizona, so anyway, according to the Scottsville Police Department, the investigation started when police received a call on August 18th from the Department of Community-Based Services to assist an investigation at a residence on North Court Street. According to an arrest citation, officials learned that a 16-year-old had been hired to supervise 3 children while the parents went to work. Police said that the juvenile lived with Trevor Johnson, 34, and Amber Caldwell, 30, of Scottsville. According to the SPD, juvenile was given payment by Johnson and Caldwell in the form of marijuana for watching the children. Caldwell denied the allegation, while Johnson turned himself in to the police. They were both charged with second-degree unlawful transaction with a minor, and their cases are pending in Allen District Court. Further investigation by the Scottsville Police Department resulted in Caldwell and Johnson both being charged on October 2nd with human trafficking, forced labor, and of a victim younger than 18. Caldwell and Johnson were both booked into Allen County Detention Center, where they're being held under $50,000 cash bonds. The couple are due Wednesday in Allen District Court to be arraigned on the human trafficking count. According to arrest citations, the couple's children were removed from the home, and the juvenile who is said to have supervised the children was taken by a relative to Tennessee. That is a whole lot to consider. You guys getting paid with weed as a minor. I don't know. What do you think?
Why is their bail so cheap? $50,000. That's only $5,000 to bail out. That's not a lot of money.
Man, there is a lot to unpack on this. Number one is they tried to pay the babysitter with weed. So something happened there. Either he didn't want the weed sucked, it wasn't enough. I don't know. That's just a weird, the whole transaction thing.
Probably
right?
some outdoor weed.
Yeah, it might have been some outdoor. It's some preemie too, if they already gave it to him like around right now.
Okay. Hold on. I know there's a lot of jokes in here, but really, we're talking about a kid who got paid with weed.
No, hold on. I'm getting to that.
How old was the kid that got paid with weed?
16.
18.
16.
18. The kid was 18.
It says 18.
16.
Okay.
The charge was considered human trafficking of a minor under the age of 18. She was 16.
And let me explain that to the audience. Okay, so the reason that they're saying turning this into a human trafficking situation is because the child that lives in the home that was paid with the weed for the babysitting is not the child of those parents, right? So this is somebody else's kid that obviously is not supposed to be staying away from his home. So by staying but you can't just keep somebody else's kid whenever you want to just do babysitting jobs and pay them with weed. So that's why they got the human trafficking charge. This is like just a whole situation though. Like, look at this. This is indicative of the justice system.
The human trafficking charge, I feel like, is going to get dropped as soon as they actually go to court.
Probably. But look at this though. You go from just giving somebody some weed for a task, right? Mm-hmm. That turns into your children being removed from the home. You have a human trafficking charge that you're fighting. You went to jail. You have to get $50,000 bail. Like, this is all from just trying to hand somebody some weed for doing a babysitting job. That is just mind blowing.
And this is why you don't give minors weed, you guys.
Yes,
Don't give minors weed. This is the whole problem right here.
Yes, do not give minors weed.
And also, you can't just pay someone in weed unexpectedly, too. If that is the exchange, let's discuss this in advance and make sure that the nature of the deal is known to all parties. This is probably a surprise to the 16-year-old.
The kid could have been good with it.
For a lot of people, the weed is far more valuable than cash is.
Yeah. And the kid could have been good with it. Like, he could have been getting paid with weed the whole time, and then somebody else said, like, hey, how much money you making babysitting? He was like, I just get weed. And they're like, what? And they said something. I mean, who knows? But
is it like a messed up uncle and aunt situation or something
No.
like this? It's just weird. There's just so many facts that are just like missing from this, because it says, according to SPD, the juvenile was given payment for marijuana for watching the children, and they actually lived with them too. So it's just
that's where we think
the kid was there like during the day. Was the kid not even going to school? Like, there's a lot of question marks.
Right.
I feel like this story is an attack on safe banking, because if we had safe banking, they could have actually been paid and not have to been paid in weed.
Yeah, definitely. 1099.
Mm-hmm.
No, that makes no
sense. Jason, you really missed it.
Whatever.
But if we pass safer banking, the parents would at least get out of jail.
Would they?
Oh boy.
What?
Oh boy.
What? No, this poor
not sure
kid.
how that would work.
I guess so. If they just had possession, right?
I'm just playing.
They just had
Listen,
possession.
you know that the agreement actually was to get paid in weed, but then the weed was like super dry, no terpenes, like just bad.
And this was all.
And the kid was mad.
And this was all done on a handshake deal, Manndie.
Yeah, like I would love to see the made for TV movie about this whole
classic A&E.
And looking at their mugshots, man, there's a lot more going on in this situation.
Oh yeah.
And mind you, this happened in Kentucky, correct, Manndie? This is in Kentucky?
No, it was in Scottsville.
Scottsville, Kentucky.
Is that Kentucky?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I thought you said Scottsdale.
Nope,
Sorry.
not Scottsdale.
Oh no,
I thought
stuff like this doesn't only
Arizona, Scottsdale. My bad.
Yes,
I said Arizona.
Scottsville, Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
My apologies.
There's a lot to this story that we're not hearing yet.
Yeah, there was a lot of questions that I had when I started reading through it, but it was also something that I was like, we have to explore this one a little bit. And I looked on several news sources. It was just similar or even more watered down stories. So,
Gretchen, could you get Senator Rand Paul to comment on this for us? We want to know what's going on in Kentucky with this.
Yeah, get us the.
This is a state issue. No one cares.
Ask Marijuana Mitch.
I just wonder if the mom is going to get featured on Mugshot Shorties.
Damn.
How much weed did they try to pay? I mean, was this a pound?
I don't think so. It was for a few hours of babysitting. It's for a few hours of babysitting. It was probably like an eighth at the most.
They're like, there's some roaches in the tray.
It's in Kentucky.
I'm mad about it too. Poor
Kentucky
kid.
flower is worth a lot more in Kentucky.
I pay my dog sitters in weed.
Oh yeah,
I've done that.
But they are
But it was
illegal consenting adults.
Pre-negotiated
trafficking here.
That's different.
No trafficking, just barter system.
You just donate your
You're
weed to them.
gifting your weed.
Right? She's I-71
in appreciation
thank
for
you for
dog
watching
sitting.
my babies. Yep,
Yes.
they love it.
Mm-hmm. So you got interesting, Gretchen, that you let your kids run around with weed smokers.
Dude, I got the best video of Wheezy getting hotboxed once when she was. You don't even know Wheezy. Wheezy was my bulldog from years ago.
I want to see the video.
I didn't know you were a Lil Wayne fan.
Will you send
Gretchen?
this to us?
No, she liked the Jeffersons. I don't give a shit about Lil Wayne.
Oh.
Will you send us the
Shout
video,
out
Gretchen,
Lil Wayne.
so we can watch it? We can enjoy this.
We'll see.
All right.
It's adorable. They're like bumping up and down, and she's all excited. Yeah, it's a good time.
Oh, man. She's turning up over there. You ready, Rico?
I was gonna say, I don't think hotboxing or secondhand smoke really gets people high, but maybe dogs is on another level.
There's no such thing.
You got enhanced.
Poor little English
enhanced
bulldog.
noses and stuff, man. They got enhanced smelling and stuff.
There's no such thing as contact
I was in
high.
my dad's car when I was a small child, and let me tell you something. I was high as fuck in the back of that car.
Let me tell you
Excuse my language.
Oh, you know what? Exactly. You know what's funny is
Chemo's
Chemo's in there. He says there you go. It was probably hot hemp. I'm willing to bet that's probably what happened. Is they paid the babysitter in some hot hemp.
Makes sense,
right? Saying
No
that it was
THC.
weed, and then all of a sudden they got pissed when they smoked it, and they're like, "I'm fucking snitching
Didn't
on
work.
these dudes."
Yeah.
I think that's how it happened.
All right,
Gave him
next
some
who cares?
pretendo.
Let's just keep it rolling here. Bringing us home today, once again, it is the author, activist, entrepreneur, OG, trailblazer, warrior for justice, spitter of truth, and what's most importantly, a fellow dope girl dad. Y'all give it up for Luke Scarmazzo.
Yes. Hey, everybody. Welcome. It's Wednesday. Good morning. Definitely dope dad. That's one of my favorite roles. Shout out Jasmine if you're out there watching. Love you, baby.
It's a great name too. It's my wife's name, man.
Yeah.
Another connection we got, brother.
You already know, brother. You already know. So yeah, I'm always covering the outlaw news here for the High at 9, and today's no different. And I like it here because I came all the way down here south. We drove, came down, slid into LA, listening to Pac and Nipsey the whole way down. And then I get to LA and I get to cover a story about the South Side. So anyway, we got city shuts down illegal cannabis operation in South Los Angeles. City officials shut down illegal cannabis operation in South Los Angeles on Tuesday. The store operated since 2018 at a building on the 2100 block of West Florence Avenue, Florencia, according to LA and the city attorney. The owners are accused of illegally selling cannabis and cannabis products from a storefront which was located 700 feet from an elementary school and a library, and authorities said. The owners and their alleged shell companies used in the questions were identified as, and then it lists 3 owners and like 10 different shell companies that they all have: Global Solutions LLC, TNS Management Group LLC, and all these different organizations and companies that these individuals owned. Over the past few years, Los Angeles police received ongoing complaints regarding the illegal shop, including multiple car accidents, heavy foot traffic, and cannabis being sold to minors. LAPD officers executed 9 search warrants, which yielded large amounts of cash, cannabis, guns, and at least 4 undercover purchase operations. Despite the search warrants, authorities said the owners continued to operate. The city attorney alleges that the operators utilized shell companies and LLCs to hide their involvement and shirk responsibility tied to their illegal activities. In addition to shuttering the storefront, the suspects were ordered to pay $450,000 in civil penalties. If the owners violate the order to stop selling illegal cannabis, they can be fined a minimum of $1 million in civil penalties. Quote, cannabis sales in California are regulated for good reason, to ensure that businesses operate safely and legally, keep cannabis from being sold to children, and regulate the industry so as to avoid nuisances and undue concentration of cannabis locations in an area, the LA city attorney said. The illegal activity at this store went on for too long and was alarming for the neighborhood. With guns being recovered by law enforcement and complaints about the store selling cannabis products to minors, that ends now. I'm proud that my office put a stop to this and helped to level the playing field for legitimate business owners who operate by the rules. Okay, so that happened Tuesday.
And you're saying that by Thursday they were reopened?
I think they're open today.
That's what I'm saying.
I think Manndie went in there and got some rosin earlier today. No, I'm just playing. But no, so this happens Tuesday. This is very like it's like, it feels like when I got raided almost. It's like a lot of the same terminology and a lot of the same language and stuff like that about, selling to people who didn't have recommendations. They didn't say minors to us, but it was selling to people who don't have recommendations, illegal money. They had guns in their home.
It said in the article that they did 4 controlled buys there.
Yes. Yeah. Another thing that they did with us too, 4 controlled buys, had officers come in posing with fake recommendations and all that stuff. So it's different, but it was reminiscent of some of those older times when some of the dispensaries used to get raided back.
Get your heart pumping again.
Yeah, it gets my heart pumping.
Yeah, exercise.
But it looks like these guys were out there busting the block, man, and they were doing it since 18.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if these people are back open by the end of the week. In all reality, I mean, this is
$1 million fine though. That hurts.
$1 million fine to
the LLC
to an LLC,
to an LLC
shell company
actually,
that has no.
They just keep evading it.
Exactly.
Just keeps folding.
Exactly.
Take a page out of Donald Trump's book. Just go.
I mean, there's literally a list. I want to say there's like.
I think there's a how-to video.
There's like 7
it's
LLCs
after this
listed.
show on YouTube.
Yeah. Hold on. Do you have the list of the names of the LLCs?
Yeah, it's
hold on. Read these. This is classic, you guys.
It's JYP Investments LLC. It's West Florence Investments LLC, Group Holdings 25 Holdings LLC, TNS Management Group LLC, LA Florence Investment LLC, Global Solutions LLC, and it looks like there's a couple more, but you guys get the gist of it.
Super generic.
They
names.
were moving around and they were shifting these LLCs, and when then one of them got fined, they just popped another one up. Listen, they're playing the game. When in Rome, do as the Romans, I guess, until these people fix what the hell they got going on.
Yeah, that's not going to happen anytime soon.
The trap is immortal.
Yep.
The trap is immortal.
It evolves better than the legal industry.
I have a love-hate relationship with the trap. Like, I love the trap. I hate the trap. I don't even know. Like, I'm from the trap. I was in the trap. I can't wait to get out of the trap. Like, it's wild.
Yeah, it's like a woman. It's a whole bunch of mixed up emotions.
The trap is the Matrix, man.
Yeah. Looking for the blue pill.
Oh man, you got to look for the red pills. That's how you find the truth.
No, I'm staying with the blue. Chill. Just let me see all puppy dogs and
you want to live in Walmart world, huh? Walmart world every day.
Listen, Jay, I've seen enough of the red pill, man. It's grim.
Yeah, ignorance is bliss. That is what they say. That is true. I get it. If you don't see it, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, so again, prohibition still goes. It looks different in states that are legal sometimes. I mean, I covered a story last week, I believe, in Chicago where the Porsche, or it might have been a couple weeks ago, where the Porsche got pulled over. That's in a legal state. They went to jail. It still goes on. We need this to like be completely decriminalized, legalized on a federal level.
We need
on
cannabis
a state
to
level.
descheduled, not Schedule 3, not any pharmaceutical fix. We need true descheduling.
Yeah, we need accessible accessible, clean weed.
Access to safe.
We need access to safer banking.
And we just need to be treated just like every other business is treated, with the same taxation opportunities, banking loan opportunities.
That's why safer banking is a necessary pass.
I'm going to say something that's completely wild and crazy right now.
Oh boy.
Okay, completely wild and crazy.
Hold on, everybody.
Cannabis should be treated like any other commodity.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. It's very true.
Anything else?
Yeah, it's an organic plant,
and it can be manipulated like the rest of the market.
I mean, that was what my story was all about, Rico, because it's all the same plant.
Wrap it up.
It's great out. Thank you all.
Hey, mom's calling, y'all. Mom's calling. I got dip.
Time to go inside.
You can catch us live weekdays, 9 a.m. Pacific, high noon on the East Coast. And big shout out to our super fans showing love, getting their comments posted live on the big screen. Our live audience and online supporters catching us across all media platforms, tuning in each day. To our vetted correspondents tuning in from all over, bringing us much needed variety of perspective and your respected opinions to the table. To our production team, Cloud Media Partners, House of Fuego, all our sponsors keeping the lights on, AV struggles to a minimum, and of course the lovely Jaja Simone. I know you out there, baby girl. Good to see you. Holding us down on all the other platforms. As always, Cannabis Sativa L, the reason we show up to read these stories every single day. It has been Wednesday, October 11th, 2023. It's good to be back, everybody. Hope it was enough to put in your pipe and smoke at least until tomorrow. My name is Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street. I'd like to give this one to my man, Stone Slade. What you got for us, my man? Take us out.
Man, I'm just happy to see your smiling face, Rico. I'm glad you're feeling better. Everybody,
come back.
Keep the fight alive. Tell a friend. See you next time.
He's got his color back.
He does. Look good, brother.
Yeah.
You look good. It's
Looking
good to see you.
Yeah.